Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Just wanted to have a little wrap up on some of our discussion boards this week. So the first discussion board was the ethos, pathos, and logos discussion. Many of you noted that you thought that logos would be the most effective mode of persuasion of Aristotle's three modes of persuasion, which I think on the surface is very logical. But I wanted to add my 2 cents in the way that we kind of talk about it in the field of communication studies. So if you have a speech with just facts and figures using logos only, logic, that's not going to resonate with you as much because you'll be bored to death and your ideas won't be brought to life, right? So it's really the idea of having ethos, pathos, and logos working together and having a nice balance of all three where you really hit the sweet spot of persuasion. So let's talk a little bit about pathos and ethos. So some of you noted that pathos was important because without some sort of like personal connection or emotional connection, you wouldn't be able to be persuaded, which I think is very accurate. But there's more to pathos than just emotions, right? It's the idea of using stories to bring your ideas to life. So human beings are inherently wired for storytelling. It's how we make sense of the world. So one of the ways that you can bring your ideas to life and connect with your audience is to tell a story around the idea that you're trying to talk about. So you tell someone's story. Think about a documentary. It usually follows this story arc of they introduce the idea, they unpack it, they talk about it, right? And then they will cut to somebody who is actually experiencing whatever the issue is that they're talking about in the documentary, and it brings the story to life. Then there's ethos. Ethos is very important. I might argue that ethos is the most important of the three modes of persuasion because this talks about a speaker's credibility. So if you perceive a speaker to not be credible, you're not likely to want to listen to what they say. So we establish our credibility in public speaking by talking about why we brought up this topic in the first place. So why are you talking to your audience about this thing? Is it because you have personal experience with it? Is it because you care about the topic? And then tell your audience why. Think about that. If a speaker gets up and tells you, I'm here to talk to you today about childhood cancer, for example, and they tell you that maybe their niece or their nephew or their own daughter or son maybe experienced this tragic event, it's going to resonate with you a lot more and you'll be more primed to listen to that speaker. So there's also the idea of goodwill in ethos, and I'm really big on this in public speaking. So this is the idea that you care about your audience and that you're talking about this thing because you care about them and you have their best interest at heart. So you say something like, this issue, I'm talking to you about this issue because it will affect you in the short or the long term. What else? Oh, we also establish our credibility by saying why we're an expert in this area. Either we've done research or we have personal experience with this thing. So really, it is all three together, not just logos or pathos or ethos. It's the sweet spots in the marriage of the three. So try to use all three modes.